Are we really about to talk our shit on this podcast?
You know I'm down for whatever.
All right. Ain't no turning back.
I can't worry about it, sis.
I've been dripping in the sauce, so I attract a lot. Trying to weed out all the fakes, cause I can't take a loss. All these niggas trying to play me like I ain't a boss, like I ain't a boss.
Hey, this is your girl, Lo.
And I'm Shay.
And this is another official episode of the podcast. So today we thought it would be good to talk to you guys about friendships and like familial relationships, family relationships, and about when to love people and when to cut them off. I think that's a popular thing that you go through as an adult. Like, being an adult is so exhausting sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
And we go through these phases in life where we think we have set friends sometimes, or maybe friend groups, or even like set go-to family members, and then life happens. And then I think we can all agree we've all battled a time or two where we had to either let somebody go, or we let them go too soon, or we've held on to somebody too long, whether it be for a friendship or a family, like
Agreed.
a familiar relationship. Yep. So we wanted to talk about that because I think that's something we all can relate to. We both think that it's something like we can all relate to. Just to start us off, like, Shay, when you have like friendships, close friendships, or close relationships with a family member, do you view those relationships the same?
I used to. Coming up, family first. Everybody says family goes first.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put your friends before your family. And I believed it for a long time. But as you get older, as you grow, sometimes family's not as loyal than you have as your friends. So
true.
I'm at a point in life where I love my family, but at the same time, you have different relationships with your family. Not everybody in your family you can trust, just like any other friend. So at this point in life, I don't see them the same. I feel like your friend or a best friend, your homie, can be more of a ride or die than your own family. Sometimes your family, just like a friend or enemy, can want to see you do bad. It's a horrible
That's
thing.
true.
But, it's real life. So I used to view them the same. But at this point that I'm in now, I do not. How do you feel about that?
For me, I don't view them the same either at this point. The only thing, and I think that this is a personal struggle for me, is with family, I always give a lot more chances. Just
Agreed.
because it's family.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I'll give a lot more chances. I'll let a lot more stuff slide. Like, I don't particularly let a lot of stuff slide. But with family, I'll let a lot of stuff slide just because that person is family, and I'm thinking like they're family, so I'll allow a lot more things. But I agree with you, like, family to me, like my group, and that can include family or friends. You create that, and it doesn't always have to include family. Like,
to me, you have a bond.
Close. Exactly.
It's like a bond.
Bonds are bonds. Exactly.
Yes.
And you'll have people who are more supportive of you or whatever that may not be family. It very well may be family, but sometimes it's not family. Like, so who am I to not treat those people and hold them to the same standard, like give them my same love and support when that's what they provided me. So, I agree with you. Like, I'm not so much family first all the time. Now, I do have, like, my core family. I am like that. Like, my mom, my dad, my brother.
Right.
I'm like that. That's family first. No, those are people who that's with you.
You
all
give
the
them
time.
1,000 chances, but
exactly,
that's family. Like,
exactly.
That's my sister. That's my brother.
Exactly. You just have to adjust your relationship with those people.
Correct.
To make it okay for you. Even if it, you know what I mean? If they have certain behaviors, I just adjust how I handle them in a way that makes it okay for me, that I can deal with. But I know that these aren't people I'm just going to dispose of. Unless it gets toxic, but we not going there yet. Because, it's levels. It's levels. And you ain't got to forgive everything. But it's like, what do you think? Because a lot of what we go through in relationships in particular is like how we learn how to behave. So what do you think attributes to how we learn to behave in these type of relationships? Family relationships, friendships, like, what do you think affects that?
Growth. As
I
you grow
agree.
older, you go through all these different experiences and people who, no matter if they're friends or family, you think they're the ride or die, but when it comes to those ride or die situations, they're not there. So I think when you
Yeah.
experience those with different people in life, you realize, well, shoot, that ain't no friend. If I can't call on you and you be there to support me in anything that I need, why am I considering you a friend? No matter if you are family or not. Because you can have family members that you can become best friends with. You can have a cousin that you best friends with, a sister that you best friends with, or just a friend that you meet on the side. But at the same time, when you go through these experiences with these people, if you don't have that friend that's going to be there for you, that can tell you right or wrong, no matter what the situation is, they are not a friend if you don't have that.
That's true. I think I don't know. I think that like for me, what attributed to like how I be having relationships, for one, it's like my upbringing. So like me growing up, my mom taught us like loyalty is key. So I grew up. I was in middle school and high school feeling like loyalty, ride or die. Like whoever I'm cool with, that's just that. Like nobody above them, whatever the case. And it's like
Right.
young kids don't even think they don't think like that. And I would venture to say the way that I was viewing it was real extreme too. Like now I know that it's a bit of a balance. You can be loyal without shutting a lot of people out. And I didn't
Agreed.
recognize that at first. At first
Same
I was
here.
like, yep, tunnel vision. Like these are my friends. We are a group, and the rest of y'all, if you don't want to be friends with my friends, we ain't friends. Like
Exactly.
my mindset was so much like that when I was younger. But then, like, you grow up, and like you said, like growth, like past experiences, you grow up and realize that a lot of people aren't raised like that. So now you walking around with hurt feelings because you've been trying to ride it out with somebody who is cool with people who don't like you, who, you know, mistreat you, talk about you, whatever the case may be. And then you have to learn to adjust from that. Like, so I really think it's like growth, past experiences, and like the way you were raised. Because I'm always gonna be loyal because I was raised to be loyal.
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
learned how to be loyal in a way that's functional, like for me, because that's my biggest thing. And to me, loyalty to me is different than some other people. So I have to recognize what another person's version of loyalty is and only give them so much so that it doesn't affect my peace.
I feel
I
like
think that's much major.
I had to, and I just learned this last year, and I feel like, damn, it took me this long to learn it. But I literally, and I tell all my close friends, you have to learn to love people for who they are. Quit trying to put this label on a friend when this is not who they are. So you have a choice to either one, love them for who they are, accept them, and just ride it out with them because you want to, or two, you don't have to just say, hey, it's best that we just become friends. I love you, but we're just going in two different paths. See, I think that's the problem is people try to change people. You can't change people. You have to love them for who they are because some people are still the same person that they was 10
Yep,
years ago.
that's
So,
so true.
okay, do you love this person for who they are or do you cut them off? I think that's one
See,
thing I had to learn. It took me a while to get
that
there.
was like the next thing I was about to touch on, like about sometimes people can be a great friend or what they define as a great friend to you, but they're not the friend to you, and they're not the friend for you. And I feel like I ran into that. Like I feel like I've had past friendships that, and then I'm saying past, which means clearly I cut them off, but I've had past friendships where I think the person genuinely thought that they were being a great friend to me, but what they were providing to me wasn't for me.
Okay.
And I think that people sleep on that. You might think you are being a great friend, but friendships and any relationship is just, it's not just like a love relationship because of course y'all ain't, it's not physical, but love languages apply across the board.
Yes, ma'am, it
How
does.
somebody wants to be loved, that's across the board. They don't want to just be loved by their man or woman. They want to, in that way, they want to be loved across the board like that. And I think sometimes if you are trying to be a great friend to somebody in a way that is most comfortable for you, you drop the ball. And that's how I think sometimes
Yep.
people end up being good friends. Like, they feel like they're being good friends, and then you end up having two people who are friends that end up feeling slighted. So
Yeah.
this person over here feels like you not being what they need. This person over here feels like I'm doing this stuff, but this person is ungrateful. But it's like, you're doing what's convenient for you. You're doing what's comfortable for you. You're
Right.
being a friend that's comfortable for you. But being in a relationship with anybody, whether it's a friendship, a familiar relationship, a love relationship, it's not what's comfortable for you.
Yep.
It's a give and take. You got to provide what that person needs from you. Like, and I think that that's something that people sleep on.
Okay. My question to you is, have you ever jumped the gun with cutting someone off and regretting it? And if
Woo.
so, did you try to get the bond back, or did you was just like, fuck it, we're not even gonna go backwards, we're gonna just continue to move forward?
So at one point in my life, I carried a pair of scissors in my pocket. And
Mine was red, heavy
my
duty.
pocket, ready to cut somebody off. Like, and it attributes a lot to like my growth as a person, and we'll touch on that on a future episode of like who I was versus who I am now. I've grown a lot, and so it's like one thing about growth, especially when you start growing in a positive direction. A lot of times we are so short patience to things that we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We are so short patience with other people with things that we have done. And I have been at that point before where I'm just like, you get a snip, you get a snip, everybody
What?
gets a snip. I'm
Everybody gets cut.
everybody just getting
No
cut
question
off.
asked.
Yes, because I feel like shortchanged. And I have been on both sides of the fence. There are times because I am extremely prideful and I'm extremely stubborn. There have been times where I have cut people off and I didn't try to get the bond back at all. You know, maybe that person tried to talk to me or whatever the case may be. But to be honest, at this point, like today, right now, I don't regret anybody that I cut off.
I don't either.
I feel
have
like it's
one.
within good reason. Yeah, I don't have any. I had one, but I don't anymore, and we'll talk about that in a future episode. But at that particular situation, I did try to get the bond back because I feel like a friend is like a friend that you like miss, you genuinely miss, and you think about, and you can't even remember why y'all got into it. Those are the type of relationships that you need to get back. Because if it's somebody who really wronged you and they did something foul to you, and
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
going to remember the situation verbatim.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
going to remember
Step by step.
You're going to be able to play that. Yes, you're going to be able to play that situation back in your mind. So it's not even any doubt in your mind why you cut that person off. A lot of times, if you remember the situation like that, people become back friends because the person is lonely, not because they feel like this is such a great friend that they need to get back. You just lonely. Maybe you don't have other people to talk to. Maybe you feel like you need more friends, and you just calling back this old person. And I'm not really in the business to do that. So I have tried to get old bonds back, one in particular. But other than that, I don't regret anybody I cut off because I feel like it was just. Like, I feel like it was within good reason, like, for one reason or another. What would you say, though? Like, have you had an experience like that?
I have more of someone I was close to that I would consider, well, they are family. I feel like I was just like you in my younger days where it was cutoff season. And my mom literally had to set me down and say, Shay, you cannot cut people off like that. Like, that is just not healthy. Like, you can't just snip and move on. It's just really not healthy. Like, I really had to reevaluate myself. Like, dang, that is wrong. Like, I'm cutting people off just like, bye, choop, and I'm not looking back. But there was one person in particular, maybe about 5 years ago, that I feel like I cut off and I could have gave another chance to. I felt like I just said, forget that person. it don't even matter, when I could have just took that time and be like, okay, why are we even arguing in the first place? Why are we even here? What made me want to cut you off? Like, because to this day, my memory is very short, but I cannot remember why we got into it. But,
so is that something you considering?
now? No. I felt like...
Wait.
I feel like I'm in a really good place in my life, and I feel like God did it for a reason. Maybe, me and this person was too clingy, too close, and we needed to be separated. So I feel like if God took you out of my life and has not brought you back at this point, you don't need to be there, because I feel like I'm in a very good place in my life. And if you here, you are here for a reason. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have my regrets, but I don't want to keep going back. So I'm just going to keep going forward.
Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense to me. Because like I said, I told you the same thing. I ain't regretting a thing. What about, so we talked about being scissor happy. What about, have you ever prolonged it? Like, have you ever just felt like you needed to cut somebody off, but then you just kept on? Because I feel like when we had those situations, when you feel like, and this is even in love relationships, when you feel like the signs are there, you keep feeling it, you got bad vibes, you feel like you should cut this person off, and you don't, it's like you keep on getting your ass tapped. Every time
they keep coming, the signs go boop.
They keep coming, and they keep on getting you. Like, every time they
swerving.
keep zinging you. Yep.
I'm dribbling down the court.
They keep zinging you. You keep on avoiding it. Like, no,
yes,
it's okay. She's just having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? You just keep giving her reasons, or him reasons. So have you had a time with a friendship where you've done that?
Yes. And I'm going to say the only reason why I did it is because me and this person at the time grew up together. So when you see what this person has been through, you try to be patient, because they don't really know no better. When you see somebody who's had a mother or father who's just not there for them, and literally all they got is their friends, you try to be patient with them. Yeah. But when you get to a point in life where you get exhausted, like, there's not much more I can take, you just gotta move. I tell this person before, like, I love you, I appreciate your friendship, because she wasn't a horrible friend. It was just too much, too much going on. Sense. You're not moving right. And at the end of the day, birds of a feather flock together, and I was not going that way. I'm growing this way, you going that way, so it's best that we just turn our separate ways. But I think it's when you know somebody personally, you know their experiences, you try to be so patient with them. Like, okay, she's having a bad day, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. So you try to be patient, but after so long, it's very, very exhausting. So you have to let go. And I feel like that's okay. Like, I feel like you don't have to hold on to something that you are not comfortable with. And jealousy always plays a role.
That major, that's so major. See, me, I feel like I have, up until recently, and when I mean recently, like the last year or so, I have always been a slave to loyalty. Like, loyalty was so major to me that I would, especially if I've been friends with somebody for a long time. Like, I kept a lot of my high school friends way longer than I should have.
Agreed.
And for me, like, a lot of people like, yeah, we've been friends from 30 years since high school, which, awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so fucking bomb. Salute to you. But I was such a different person in high school than I am now.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, I was a mad-ass kid. I was mean and mad at that time when I was in high school. So a lot of people haven't made as many transformations in themselves as I have now. And not to speak negatively on them, because I was obviously going through my own shit, but you got to be in a certain space to even want to be friends with me at that time. You got to be going through your own struggles. You got to have your own shit going on within yourself that you would even want to be friends with me. Like, when I'm going through my own internal struggles and I'm being mean, and maybe they was thinking, like, she's going to get out of it. I'm not really sure. But then once you grow, you know what I mean? And once you grow, that's one thing about growing as a person. And when you find peace, everything, that negative energy, it disturbs you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so much more strong.
It's a
like
vibe.
it
If
it's a the
people can
vibe.
lie and say they don't get the vibe. You When you meet
It's a
somebody, you
vibe.
get that vibe. You get a peaceful vibe, or you get that
Yep.
something just ain't right vibe.
Yes.
And see,
And
people be
yep.
ignoring that something just ain't right vibe, and
And
that's why
it's
they keep
so
going through it.
exactly. And it's so unsettling. Like it just shakes your spirit up. And when something shakes your spirit up, you just have to, like, you got to pay attention to that. And for that, like, for me, I can count like more than one relationship, especially like friendships from high school, where I like feel like I need to separate myself from this person, but I keep on trying to be their friend again. Like,
Yep,
okay, well, maybe we've been friends for so
that
long,
was me.
gonna try again. Maybe I'm tripping. And then, to be honest, especially when you have overcame something within yourself, when you know you've been a particular way, you always try to give people grace. Like, maybe these people gave me grace. I'm trying to give you grace. I'm
Yep,
gonna give you another chance. I'm
just
gonna
try
give
to
you
be
another pass.
patient.
Exactly, because you feel like you wish people would have been more patient with you. You know what I mean? And I feel like I extended a lot of grace, but then that also put me in a situation where, because when, and I don't want to bring religion in this, but whoever your higher power is tells you to move and you don't, you asking
To get
for
hit
the
every
next
which
time it
way.
come, it's gonna come 10 times harder.
Yes,
It's gonna come 10 times harder every time. If you don't listen to that voice in your head that's telling you, like, you need to just cut ties, every time it's gonna hit you. And that's what happened to me. Every time that I had a situation, a hurtful situation with one of those friends, it was progressively worse. It was a more hurtful situation. And it wasn't friend like. And I'm very much a person that's like, especially like with those friends that I had then, it's like I'm a vault, secrets that I still haven't told, hurtful things that people said that I still haven't repeated, like about them. You know what I mean? Things, because I'm just not, I don't want to tell my friends something that hurt them. So for me, it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have put
yep.
yourself in a position to get in this space where you find peace, and every time you around this person, that peace is destroyed. And a lot of times it'll affect your life. So I have definitely, on multiple occasions, prolonged friendships. Like,
It
multiple.
took me, even just from past experience, because I feel like I was that ride or die friend because of my past, that I wanted to keep my circle close. I think that was my problem. I try to make all my friends be friends. As I got older, you realize that you cannot force your friends to be friends. Some occasions you do. You have those group of friends where y'all can vibe and jig, and then there are some cases where your friends don't click, and that's okay. But I felt like during that process, I was so focused on everybody else around me. I'm making this person happy, that person happy, and then on top of that, I got to come home. I got to make myself happy and make time for myself. Like, I had to literally stop, because I felt like I've been so hurt in my past, childhood, high school, middle school. I've been so hurt that I seen this today on Facebook, and I shared it. An old friend actually shared it, and it was like, hurt people hurt people. Like, in order for you to move on, you have to be able to forgive whatever anybody ever else done to you in your whole entire life, in order for you to find that peace. Because if you did not forgive them people, that forgiveness is for you. It's not for them, because they moving on. At the end of the day, they going to move on. They going to be happy. And you still sitting here miserable and upset because of what these people done to you. So I had to realize, okay, let's make it about me. Let me find my own peace. I got to find my own happiness. What makes Shay happy? Because at this point, I don't even know. So I felt like last year, after many occasions that happened, I was like, you know what? This is the year where I'm going to find my peace. I'm going to be peaceful. I'm going to forgive. Everybody don't forget, but you still can forgive. You're not going to forget everything that you've been through, but you definitely can forgive. And once I found my peace, I felt like I found peace, and God just felt like he was dropping people out of my life and bringing me so many different blessings. Like, dang, I should have cut these people off a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I should have moved on a long time ago. I should have stopped thinking about me a long time ago. So if you are having trouble with yourself, you are struggling, the first thing you need to do is forgive. Like Lo said, pray to whatever high God you pray to, and move on, because every day is a new day. And I don't think people realize that every
Yes.
day you wake up is a blessing. Like, whatever
Yeah.
happened yesterday. You have a new day every day to make a change. So I'm with you
Yeah.
on that one. Finding peace is what really triggered me. So
Yeah. See, a couple things that you said I want to touch on. The first thing is like all your friends don't have to be friends. Your friends, all of them represent different parts of you.
agreed.
And it's a reason why you act like or participate with all your friends differently,
Agreed.
because all of them represent different parts of you. One of your friends might be your friend that you like to go to church with, talk to about your problems, y'all pray on the phone. You might not have another friend who, when you about to hang out, you gotta have her because she fun as hell. You got another friend that you call when you about to get dressed because you like the way she styled. You know what I mean? Like, every friend is different, and I feel like we all have a friend that encompasses a lot of those qualities where we just talk to, and then those other friends. And I think that sometimes, and I think this is a struggle with, I've noticed, now I don't know if everyone has this issue, and I know that men's relationships with their friends are different because they're not as intimate as women's relationships. Women's friendships are very intimate, and that's why we argue and fight. People are like, men have easy relationships. That's because their relationships, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, they're surface level. They not getting into it because they ain't got nothing to get into it about.
Right.
And that's the same thing with women. If we not going deep with a homegirl, yeah, you ain't never gonna have a disagreement because y'all are surface level friends. But friends that are intimate one another, they don't always agree or aren't always on the same page. It happens in life. Like, I feel like a lot of times, the more close you are with somebody, sometimes it's just not. Whether you address it in a moment and it never becomes anything, you don't address it in a moment and it just doesn't become anything because you just learn how to maneuver, or you do and it has become things. Like, so I feel like a lot of times too, like with me, I've had personal struggles because sometimes you have friends that don't realize that your friends are separate. I enjoy some of my friends being separate. Like, I enjoy that because they all serve me differently.
I agree.
And like, I have a friend group. I have two homegirls that I hang out with, and our vibe is just a different vibe. You know what I mean? I got one friend that I talk to often. I have another friend that I talk to once or twice a week. Like, and it's just different. But I think it's important too, because we're talking about like letting people go or keeping them. I think that it's important to know that you should not feel slighted when you see someone else relationship with somebody else, because a lot of times that gets mixed up in translation. A lot of times people are trying to decide if they should need to hold on to a friend or cut a friend off based on that friend's relationship with somebody else, and that don't got shit to do with y'all.
This is my main thing I said, and I just said this to my sister-in-law the other day. When you are friends with people, and I swear I'm so passionate about this, girl, there's no competition. You don't.
Yes.
There's no competition. Like, you don't have to compete
Yes.
with each other's friends. Like, I have my bond with you. I have my bond with my other friend. I have my bond with like, we all have separate bonds. There's no competition because at the end of the day, I'm not competing with all your other friends. Like, I'm happy that you are mingling and interacting with other people, because there's gonna be times where I can't always be there. So you need that friend that you can go have a drink with sometimes. You need that friend that you can go to shopping with all the time, because I can't be there every single time. Like, it's impossible. So quit competing with each other. There is no competition. Like, there's enough love, just like there's enough money around here for everybody. Like, you don't have to be everywhere your friend is.
Yeah.
You're not gonna click.
I think that's growth though. That's us growing though, because I think that comes with codependency, and we can admit, and we'll talk to you guys later on in a later episode about how codependent we were on one another.
Yes.
But when you have been codependent, like when you are in a space where you're still living off codependency, sometimes it's hard to not think in that way. Like, I used to be super attached to everybody around me when I was codependent. More attached to you than anybody else. I can admit that. But I still was like codependent because you looking at everybody for those type of bonds. You might not be asking it for that much from other people because you got this one person and y'all locked arms and walking all the way, but you expect those type of relationships. I think sometimes when people have those codependent mindsets, then it creates a level of competition because now you wondering like, well, she's spending more time with her. Well, she talking to her. Well, they out and they look like they having a blast.
Right.
Well, she did this. Well, they posting this together and they doing this together. And it's like, it's not about that.
No, not at all.
It's not about that. Like, sure, there are situations where you might feel slighted about something and that might be a cause for communication, but that's not a should you cut your friend off or should you love them more conversation. Not somebody loving their other friends.
Right.
That's to be expected. Why would you want a friend who can't get other friends? I don't want a friend and I'm your only friend. That is stressful.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yes.
It really
I'm trying
is.
to
It's a lot.
have a white picket fence, my man, a dog, some little baby kids. I don't have time to be going with my homegirl. Like, that's a big ask. Like, and I don't think people understand that. Like, have multiple friends. Have your own friends. Have friends separate from your other friends. That's important. Like, that's super important. I think people don't understand that, and I feel like that a lot of that gets lost in translation. That's a little off topic, but I had
Okay, so my question to you would be, what would be your valid reason to end a friendship, no matter if you have a friend, a best friend, or even a family member? Like, what is one good reason that you would end any type of relationship with them?
One, I'm a private person. This is me in particular. I'm not saying this is for the masses, but I'm a private person. So my number one thing is, like, if I tell you, I don't tell a lot of people stuff. I'm very selective about it. Who I tell, whatever. I don't tell a lot. So if you telling my business, that's pretty much
True.
you know. Because if you waiting for us to hang up so you can call somebody else, then your life
It's a problem.
It's too you. I don't even remember a lot of the stuff that a person told me when I get off the phone. Now it might click once I talk to you again, but I don't be thinking like, ooh, you know what I mean? Because to me, it's like if you celebrating what somebody else told you, because a lot of times nobody is hurrying up and picking up the phone about no good damn news. I've never heard that where somebody is hurrying up to tell somebody business is good news. So that's my number one thing. Running your damn mouth. That is a no-go. My number two thing is like slick comments, like hating. Because a lot of people be hating and making jealous comments.
Get out
on the
my
low.
head. I swear to God, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, you'll catch that. Like people who wouldn't even really talk shit to you for real or try to say some slick stuff to you. You know what I'm saying?
It
like
could be
if you really
slick
had to have a direct.
Instagram, slick Facebook, slick Twitter, and you know what they're
Yep.
referring to, but they act like it ain't towards you. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. I keep everything up here. I note
Me too.
everything. Like, I might not have good memory, but I remember damn sure what the hell I want to. And if I see anything, anything, I keep it. And I just keep noting. Guess what I keep doing? I slide back. I just keep sliding.
Me too.
I don't continue.
Me too.
I don't cut them off all the way because some people, I hate saying this, but you see what people like. It was a situation that happened and I was like, I'm going to say something to this friend. This friend needs to be addressed because shit's just not right. I get around this friend and I see the shit that she has to go through. And I'm like, damn, that would be so selfish of me to down her or explain to her, this is what you need to change when the situation that she in is so fucked up right now. So I was like, I'm just going to keep my peace. I'm not going to say nothing right now and just, let her have that moment. Weeks have gone by and you still doing the same thing. Now it's like, let me take a step back because I have to get my words together before I say anything to anybody because my mouth is so bad. I'm still working on it, but my mouth is so bad. So I have to. So now I just slide back like, you're not going to get too many texts from me. You're not going to get no calls from me. You ain't going to get me commenting, liking, loving, nothing because I know that now you're intentionally doing it. No matter if you try to say you're not, you are intentionally doing it. So instead of me doing the old me and I'm like, cut, snip, gone, I have time. So I'm going to slide back.
Yep.
I'm just going to slide. But that irks
Yeah.
me because I feel like that's jealousy. Like, you doing this to make the other person jealous. And there is, again, no competition. Like, I'm happy for you for any accomplishment that you make, and you should be happy for me. We happy for each other. Like, there should not be any type of jealousy in a friendship. Like, why would you want to throw something in your friend's
I'm
face?
uber sensitive to that. Like, I'm sensitive to that. Like, especially like when I feel like somebody is trying to like throw something into my face. Like, if I feel like you throwing something in my face, like your intentions could have never been right.
I agree.
So a lot of times for me, like friendships, I'm so sensitive about friendships that a lot of times, like I back off and I ain't gonna say nothing to you. You know what I mean? About it. Like I might vent about it. I might pick a person. I really like talking to my mama because she don't give a damn. Yeah, but I might vent about it. But even still, I'm still not gonna be like talking about like your personal business. Nobody is gonna be able to come to you and tell detailed events about your life because that's just how I am. Like that's not what I like done to me. Like I've always been a super private person, so I don't like to pass that back out. But I'm very sensitive about like when I know that somebody knows something about me and I feel like they're trying to throw some shit in my face. So when I feel like that at all, you have already been written off unknowingly. And I'll still like have a conversation with you. We can be cool or kick it, but we might not have much to talk about because I'm not telling you really nothing that I'm going on.
Exactly.
Got going on.
You cut off the personal stuff. You might have a hey, how you doing? I'm good. So what's up? You can chill, but ain't no personal conversation.
Ain't no personal conversation. And if I'm feeling like I have some personal stuff going on and I really need to get it out, I just won't talk to you until I'm over it.
Correct.
I'm really selective about that. Oop, she answering the phone, and I wear a lot of my emotions on my sleeve, so I can't just answer the phone for you and talk normal. So I'm not gonna answer the phone because I know that I'm probably gonna want to talk to you about this, and you are not the person I need to talk to. So I kind of seclude myself. I pick a person or two, normally my mom and somebody else, talk about it, and I let it go. Like and I think that. But that's major to me. Like that thorn in your face is crazy that we even just got here because that's a major, that's like a super valid reason to me because if that's your mindset and you're not trying to like just love on your friends, support your friends, ask them, communicate what you got an issue with. Because I haven't always been like that either. Like I haven't always been forthcoming with creating a space where somebody feels like they can communicate with me. And I also feel like people have felt like in the past it's difficult to communicate with me because I'm not the person that you gonna just tell some shit and I'm not gonna have a reply.
Right.
You gotta speak logic to me because when you talk to me, I'm gonna say something back because I'm gonna ask you a question. I need to understand what's going on. So a lot of times people don't want to have a conversation with me because they know that it's going to be an exchange and it's not just gonna be them telling me some shit that they felt and I'm not gonna say nothing back. No, you gotta think your shit through when you come to me because we're gonna have an exchange. You need to be able to explain to me what you have an issue with, why you have an issue with it, if it's valid. So I always recognize a lot when I create a space for somebody to communicate with me and they don't communicate with me, then that means that you mad about some shit that doesn't make any sense, but you are willing to continue with it. So that's a super valid reason for me. And that's just, we talking about just beside the obvious reasons, like, being fake as hell, which that is included, messing with your man, like some of that shit is just, nobody shouldn't have to tell you that, but.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I've had that though.
That's wild that you said that because that just clicked me. Like, I'm glad that I'm not the only person that sees it. Like, how can you consider yourself a friend when you doing that to a friend? This don't sit well with me. So when you said that, I'm like, thank you. But like a validation, like, thank you. I'm not tripping. Because sometimes we be thinking like, dang, are we tripping? Like, should we really hang on to this? Am I over exaggerating? Is this a good friend? Is this not a good friend?
I think that people that be on tip anyway, and that's us. We just kind of be on tip. We train to go. We TTG. Anyway, I think a lot of times we end up like double, and I feel like being in a relationship affects that too because you have to kind of look at yourself. But it's like you learn to like double and triple check yourself. Like, is it me? Am I tripping? Am I overreacting? And so you end up doing all that where somebody else is just walking around acting and not thinking about their actions at all. So you gotta make sure that you find people that match like your energy. And it's to me, and I don't know, and this is another thing I want to touch on. I don't know if this is something you have an issue with, but I have an issue with adjusting relationships with people when I have been closer with them. Like, I've created new relationships with people, and if we start right here, I'm completely fine with where we've started. That damn dog.
That dog. Man, I was like, if this dog don't be quiet, god dang, right now. Like, you wanna cry right now? Like, I'm crying inside for you, but right now? Give me some time. Just give me some time.
But I feel like we damn, what was I saying? Oh, I feel like we have those types of situations where, like, you create those spaces and people just don't use them. But I don't know.
So I have a
I don't
question.
know.
Do you think the number of people you have cut off has anything to do with who you are?
Ooh, yes. Yes. And yes, yes and yes. And this is this is from a couple angles. For one, the number of people you've had to cut off may have a lot to do with who you were. Like, for me personally, I had to cut a lot of people off because I grew. Like, I was a very negative person at one point. Like, extremely negative person at one point.
Me too, sis.
Yeah, and so I grew from being such a negative person, and now I find myself to be a lot more optimistic. I don't think I'm happy-go-lucky all the time, but I'm very self-aware and accountable and more optimistic than I used to be. And so when you change like that, a lot of times friends aren't prepared for drastic changes.
Agreed.
Especially if they're not going with you. You know, sometimes you grow with people and it's dope. But other times, if you grow like drastically and then people are kind of falling behind, then it's hard. So with that, for me, I've had to cut a lot of people off just because they like, who is this new hoe? I don't know her. And, you know, and it's uncomfortable for them because sometimes people take you becoming more positive and not want to deal in a lot of negative shit. Sometimes they feel like you better than them.
But here's one thing I noticed too. I lived my life, you know, young age. My mama let me go out, you know, to the clubs and down. Don't get me wrong. Rhonda was waiting out for me when I was getting out that club. Don't get it twisted. She wasn't just let me go free. No. 1 a.m. hit. She was there at 12:59 in the white Alero waiting for me. But as you get older, I have lived through so much and I've done so much at a younger age. I'm at the point now where I've already done all that. So if any of my friends are still doing that, I feel like it's like a move on. You know, you have to go your way and I have to do, because they're not going to relate to anything that I am doing for myself now. You know, I have a family. I'm in a relationship. I can't go out. I can't party. I can't really travel as much all the time. Like, there's a lot of things that I just can't do. So I feel like where people were so scared or they had reasons why they couldn't live at that point, now they living. And I'm like, baby, I already done it. I mean, I retired and turned my card in a long time ago. So I think
I agree with that, though.
That's a difference for me, too.
See, I feel like I struggle with that, though, because I'm the person who's still trying to, like, be like, no, it's cool. You do you. Have fun. I'm going to live vicariously through you. But then I still will have friends where they still want to invite me to those spaces. And then they are upset when I'm not, like, behaving in the same way that they are when they go there. You know, like, when they, like, I'm not dropping it like it's hot. I'm not dropping it like it's hot. You know, I'm not about to go to the club and don't stop, get it. You know, I ain't get that in me. Like,
relax,
that's just not
give up about it. Be ready, don't
I ain't got no meg knees. I don't really think I ever had meg knees.
No,
maybe when I was in 9th grade. Yeah, no, meg knees they absent. Anybody call meg knees? Not here. You know, I ain't got them. So it's like
still knees.
I'm not. That's not me. That's not what I'm doing. You know, and if that's what you want to do, fine. Just know that if we do it and I'm with you, I'm gonna just be sitting there staring.
I got you.
For multiple reasons. For one, that's not me. anymore. Like, I didn't get to go to the clubs when I was in high school, but I did tear the clubs up when I was in college.
Say what?
Dance so hard, broke a sweat. I'm straight. I done sweated my rep out in the club several times. Fresh perm smelling like eggs. You know, like all of that. I done did that already. So it's like, I don't have the desire to do that. And then, like you, I'm settled at this point. I'm settled. Like, I'm a whole professional person. Like, I don't aspire. Now, I will go out the country and don't stop giddy because nobody knows me over here and it's fun. But if I'm here and I'm home, that's just not what I aspire to do. If that's what you want to do, cool. As long as you don't feel away, like you don't get in your bag because you want me to go somewhere with you. Because I will go to a club with somebody if it's like their birthday. I always will go where somebody wants to go if it's their birthday. If you invite me to the club,
I do that.
And it's your birthday, I'm going to show up because it's about you and this is what you want to do.
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
don't ask me to go on Easter to the black party. No, I'm straight. No, thank you. I don't want to go because this is not my idea of fun. I'm the person, I'm going to get sleepy. I can't make it.
I can't hang no more.
I can't shut no club down. That's not.
12 o'clock be yawning.
Yeah, and if you want us to go late, I'm going to be sleepy before we even get there.
Agreed.
I'm not the person for you. I got to take a nap and drink a Red Bull to go to the club for an hour and a half. So you don't even want me there, and I'm not about to be dancing. And in Detroit, we do this thing called hustling, like ballroom dancing, like older people. Like, that's what I like to do. I want to go to the club and two-step like I'm already 75. I'll be like, oh, this is my song. Call it low to the stage. You know, like, that's just really what it is.
That's why we pick and choose our friends. Please keep in mind that the best thing to do is to find peace within yourself first. If you know you are a good friend, you've been loyal to your friend, please keep in mind that it's your choice. If you decide to, 1, love this person for who they are, or 2, cut this person on and move on. So keep in mind that you don't want to hold on to anything too long and miss out anything that's going to be a blessing to you. So we are going to end on a quote of the week. And the quote of the week for you guys is, when you stop expecting people to be perfect, you can like them for who they are. Meaning, love people for who they are. Don't judge people, because we've all been there. If people want to live their best life, let them live their best life as long as they ain't messing with you. Keep doing you. Keep being the great person that you are. And we are so excited that you take the time to listen to our podcast today. This is another episode of the And I Oop, the podcast. Bye.